Of course, darling, I come in, you know, of course, those are difficult times, of course, darling, but don't care about nothing because everything is gonna be fine. Of course, darling, you know, I'm in a lot of enterprises in the Middle East, of course, darling, and we are here playing Counter-Strike, of course, darling. That is what you know, of course, darling, that they're in the towers making some bombs and then taking the military team in, taking the oil, of course, darling. That is what you can see, and they are making it in the towers, of course, darling. That is what you can see, that is what they do. Of course, darling, and they should go to a man instead of being there. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they are knocking on the door, and they should go to a man. Of course, darling, and things like those. Of course, that is what you can see. Of course, darling, that they are in the towers with the oil. Of course, that is what you can see, and they make some bombs, and then they send the military team, and they make it all in move. Of course, darling, that is what you can see for having the oil. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That is what they do. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That they are the whole time they're making those things. Of course, darling, and they are sending us the people to knock on our door, of course, instead of going to a man, of course, darling, and so it works, of course, darling, that is what you can see, so it goes. Of course, darling, you know I'm with the Jews and with the communists. Of course, darling, that is what you can see because we are the only ones who are against Catholic freedom and things like those. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that is what you can get. Of course, all slaves from the enterprises and things like those. Of course, darling, broken states, enterprises with too much power, people without representation, without a state, and slaves from the enterprises and things like those. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and that's why I'm with the Jews and with the communists. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. It's always world here. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That I'm okay, that I'm fine, that I try, that I do what I can. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. But they are the whole time behind me. Of course, darling, they are messing with me. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That I try to be the best I can. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That I need my life. Of course, darling, and I need some place to be, and I need something to eat, and that's all I have. Of course, darling, and not much more. Of course, darling, and my word. Of course, darling, and nothing more. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. I don't know, of course, darling, what would be life without life. Of course, darling, would be nothing. Of course, darling, we need that how drink and eat. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That is what you can get here. That is what you can see. So let me, of course, darling. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they're the whole time playing with my money. That is what you can see, of course, darling. That is what you can see, that you can see in the movies. Of course, darling, that they are playing with my money. Of course, darling, but I don't care. I enjoy seeing how people suffer with the cocaine I sold them. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. That I enjoy is showing how the people enjoy with the cocaine I sold them. Of course, darling, but it's wrong. So, like that, of course, darling, that is what you can see, that it shouldn't be like that, of course, darling, that is what you can see, that no one can, of course, darling, and they are then in the other places too, darling, that is what you can see, they are in the books, of course, darling, all playing with my money, of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they are there and they are playing with my money, of course, darling, I'm in the front page from the books and they are all playing with my money there, darling, of course, darling, it's weird, of course, that is what you can see, it shouldn't be like that. And they are so obsessed with us, of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they are all playing with our money, that is what you can see, and it shouldn't be like that, of course, darling, that is what you can see. And so it goes, darling, of course, and I play with my money, but because I can, because it's my money and it's okay, of course, darling, that is what you can see, that is what you can feel, that no one can against me, of course, darling, that I love you so much and that no one can against us, and that I'm gonna love you so much, of course, darling, that they can't against us, that I'm gonna rescue you. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that no one can against us, that we are gonna have fun and we are gonna try to dodge these old people who are playing with our money in the movies and in the books, of course, in the front page, of course, darling. That is what you can see, that I enjoy showing people suffer who plays with my money when I sell them some cocaine, of course, darling, but okay. What can I do against that? Of course, darling, nothing. That is what you can see, that is what you can feel here, that no one can against us. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and that we are so fine, and that no one can against us, and that they are all playing with their money, and it shouldn't be like that. Of course, darling, our world is ours. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they are the whole time against us. Of course, darling, they are haunting us. They are trying to beat us. Of course, darling, I have them behind me since I was a kid. Of course, darling, since I was a kid, I have movies around me. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and they are the whole time trying to haunt me and to shoot me and to put me off and to make me crazy in these whole movies. Since I am a kid, of course, all talking about me, they are so obsessed with me, they don't talk about anything else that's not me. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that I'm everywhere and not everywhere. I'm fine and beautiful like I am. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that sometimes they draw me ugly. But okay, what can I do against that? Not much, darling, that is what you can see, that I have to stay and to stay so good like I can. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that no one can against me. Of course, darling, I have good moments. Of course, I'm here with the girls. I'm fine, of course, because the people who know me know that I'm not so bad. Of course, darling, they are always trying to bury me. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. They want to finish my life. Of course, they want to finish my place. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. They are against me. Of course, darling, That is what you can see, and I have enough all behind me since I'm a kid and I try to go away from them. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that they are against me, they are behind me. Of course, darling, and they're the whole time behind me, trying to finish me, talking bad about me. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and I try to stay well. Of course, darling, that is what you can see. Don't believe everything you hear about me. Of course, darling, because the reality is what I live and what I say and what I feel. Of course, darling, and not what the people are saying about me. Of course, darling, they are so obsessed with me. They're the whole time talking about me, and I have to handle these old people watching at me. Of course, darling, and they are the whole time with me, and they don't let me breathe. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and I try the whole time to be fine and to forget about them. Of course, darling, I try to be well. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that I try to live. Of course, darling, they are trying to bury me, they are trying to finish me, but they can't. Of course, darling, they are gonna go over my body and they are gonna fall before they succeed. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that no one can against me, but I'm gonna stay. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and we are gonna finish this whole towers. Of course, darling, because they are trying to get everything. Of course, darling, and they are killing people and everything to get the oil. Of course, darling, and the people are still poor. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and they take the whole money. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, and they let us nothing. Of course, darling, holding the towers, killing and doing everything against humanity. Of course, darling.